Ashley Neville here with FanRag Sports, joined by Chris Schubert. Richard Sherman's on the trade block in Seattle. What are their intentions here?
This is interesting because at first it appeared as though the comments made by the general manager, John Schneider, were intended to either bump up Richard Sherman's trade value, maybe get some more back in a trade for him, or they were trying to send a message to Richard Sherman. And that very well still may be the case, but I think if we take a piece of information from earlier in the week and kind of piece this together, you can start to see the bigger picture here. Marshawn Lynch is basically off to Oakland. He went there, he visited the locker room, and it all but likely seems that he's going back to Oakland, or going to Oakland, excuse me. And if that happens, that's bad PR. And this is an organization in Seattle that's viewed very highly. They draft well, they win, they go to championship games. They're viewed as a winning culture and a winning mentality. If they have a stretch of a week and a half or 2 weeks where they trade Richard Sherman and they lose Marshawn Lynch, that doesn't look too good for a team that's viewed very highly. So I think what they're doing by making these negotiations or this interest so public is softening the blow so that when we ultimately hear of a Richard Sherman trade, we're not taken aback like we were with maybe, let's say, the Brock Osweiler trade.
Right. So regardless, whatever they do with Richard Sherman, they're going to get, a high draft pick for that.
Sure.
But if I'm Richard Sherman at this point, and I'm hearing of all these trade talks, I don't know if I'm ever going to even want to go back there. What are your thoughts on that?
This is interesting because if they ultimately don't trade him, which is just as strong as a possibility as if they do trade him, because they're asking a lot for him. They want a veteran and another pick. I don't know if there's a team out there that'll do that, and that's another wrinkle to this whole thing. But his contract is up in the next couple of years, and he's going to now have to negotiate across the table from this person that has talked so openly about trading them. That's not a welcoming environment that you're going to have to be in a room with for the next, foreseeable future for your career. So I think he may think about this. I know what he said, that it's not that big of a deal, but it's not that big of a deal right now because he's under contract. When he's a free agent, he may begin to explore other options.
Well, it looks like Richard Sherman's time in Seattle is almost up.